Howdy folks, welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. Today we're going to be taking a look at this beautiful tank, the Centurion Mark 7-1, British Tier 9 medium tank. This is quite possibly my new favourite tank in the game. There is almost nothing about this tank that I do not like. It ticks just about every box that I'd like to see ticked on a medium tank. This thing is amazing. I loved the Centurion Mark 1 at Tier 8. And you know, they're very, very similar tanks. It's as if the Centurion Mark 1 is just it's a great machine, I loved it. But it's just a training tank for the Centurion 7-1, which takes everything that I loved about the Mark 1 and just makes it better. This tank it's fast. It could be a little faster, but hey, you can't have everything. It's maneuverable. It's got a fantastic selection of guns. The DPM is just off the charts. It is just wow. I love this tank. What you actually get here at Tier 9 with the Centurion 7-1. Actually, it's a funny thing about the Centurions. There are two Centurions in the game, the Centurion Mark 1 at Tier 8 and the Centurion Mark 7-1 at Tier 9. But what you actually have is 4 Centurion tanks. The Centurion Mark 1, depending on which turret you have fitted, with the stock turret, it is the Centurion Mark 1. The second turret is the turret from the Centurion Mark 3. And you get the same thing here at Tier 9. The first turret on the Centurion Mark 7-1 is the Centurion Mark 7 turret. The second turret, the one that you can see here, with the little basket at the back, is the turret from the Centurion Mark 9. So you technically actually have 4 Centurions in the game for the price of 2, depending on which turret you fit. So what do you actually get for your money when you get yourself a Centurion 7-1? And incidentally, in order to get yourself a Centurion 7-1, it is going to cost you 165,000 XP and 3,515,000 credits. So yeah, you better be sure you want this thing before you lay out that kind of XP and credits on it. But you probably are going to want it because it is so incredibly good. It has the second highest amount of health of any of the Tier 9 mediums, 1720 hit points. The only thing that beats that is the E50. And the E50 only has 1750. Now, it is heavier than its predecessor, with the exact same equipment setup of gun rammer, vertical stabilizer, and vents. Mine weighs 52.65 tons. The exact same equipment setup on the Centurion Mark 1, 45.37 tons. However, despite being a heavier machine, it has a better power to weight ratio because the Centurion Mark 1 only gets a 750 horsepower engine, the Mark 7 gets a 950 horsepower engine, so the 16.53 specific power on the Mark 1 is beaten by the Mark 7's 18.2 specific power. Again, very, very, very good power to weight ratio, which means this thing shifts really, really quickly. It accelerates well, it reverses quickly, it just moves very, very, very quickly indeed. And as with the Centurion Mark 1 at Tier 8, you'll find the strengths of this machine are getting moving from a standing start on all kinds of terrain. This thing just moves like lightning. And that's going to come in handy because of the way the gun works. Well, one of the guns anyway. It has a very, very good gun selection, but we'll come on to those later. But pretty much the same deal as with the Centurion Mark 1, using the 20-pounder Type A barrel. You pop out, you take your shot, you get back while the enemy is still aiming. And you can do that even better in the Centurion Mark 7 because the 20-pounder Type B barrel has an even faster aiming time. But again, we'll come on to that when we look at the guns, because the gun selections on this tank is absolutely amazing. Now, the one downside of the Mark 7-1 is that it isn't as maneuverable as the Centurion Mark 1. The Centurion Mark 1 had a great 36-degree traverse speed. Well, the 7, it's not bad. It's 32 degrees, but it's not quite as nippy as the Mark 1. The armour, once again, absolutely nothing to write home about. We'll take a look at this thing in the tank viewer and you can see the actual different armour zones in greater detail, but for the moment all you need to know is the armour's crap. Everything that fires at you is going to penetrate. The hull armour is 121mm at the front, 51 at the sides, which is appallingly bad, 35 at the rear. The turret armour, 165 at the front, which isn't bad, 112 at the side, 112 at the rear. The turret's not bad at all, but the hull is garbage. The turret traverse of 36 degrees is exactly the same as its predecessor at Tier 8. It's no better, it's no worse, it's pretty good. The view range is fantastic. with the second turret you get a 410 meter view range on this thing, which is second only to the M48 Patton at tier 10, the American tier 10 medium tank, which has 420 meter view range, best view range in the game. The 7.1 shares the second best view range in the game accolade with the M46 Patton at tier 9. They both have 410 meters of view range and 750 meter signal range, which is absolutely standard and what you'd expect of a vehicle at this kind of level. So let's take a closer look at the armour with the old World of Tanks model viewer program. So there's the old damage model showing the various different armour zones of the Centurion 7.1, and I keep going on about how great the gun mantlet and the turret front of this thing is, and you can see why. If we look at the spaced armour of the gun mantlet, that central strip, where it's dark pink, that's 200mm thick. The rest of the gun mantlet is 100mm thick, and if we remove the spaced armour, you'll see that the turret front itself is 165mm thick, and that's why this thing bounces shots like you wouldn't believe. Now, the rest of the turret front, and specifically we're talking about this yellow armour zone around the top, is a sort of good news, bad news situation. The good news is it is very, very well sloped. The bad news is it's only 51mm thick. The good news is it doesn't extend round to the right-hand side of the turret. That is actually 112mm thick all the way around, as it is on this side as well. But this 51mm thick zone, and specifically we're talking about people taking pot shots at you when you hold down and you're working ridge lines, for example, and only exposing the front of your turret. It's important that it's 51mm thick and not 50mm thick because of the way the partial overmatching works. What happens is if the caliber of the gun that's shooting at you is more than double the thickness of the armour, partial overmatching will occur and it will negate some of the sloping. Full overmatching occurs when the caliber of the gun shooting at your armour is 3 times the thickness of the armour. So for example, that you would have to be getting shot at with a 154mm gun in order for full overmatching to occur and for the angle of this yellow zone from the front to have absolutely no value. Partial overmatching, you would need to be firing at the front of this tank with something bigger than 100mm, so that's actually quite significant. It means that all of those 100mm tank guns, even if they hit this yellow zone at the front, they're not going to partially overmatch the angling and sloping of that armour strip. 105mm guns or better are required to actually partially overmatch that, so that's actually pretty good news. The rest of the armour is absolutely nothing to write home about, with one exception. You can see that the front of the hull, that's your 121mm armour zone. The lower glacis is only 76mm thick, but there's a one strip at the front, this bit here, that's 152mm, so be careful when you're shooting at the front of a Centurion. I mean, there are so many places at the front where you can shoot this thing where your shot is going to go through, so don't shoot at the gun mantlet and don't shoot at this armour strip in the middle. So, the armour, not great. But it's a medium tank. We don't expect it to have fantastic armour. And you use the same tactics with this thing that you do with the Centurion Mark 1 at tier 8. You take advantage of low ground. You use depressions in the ground cover to keep your hull covered up. Pop in and out of cover using the lightning fast aiming time of your 20-pounder gun, for example, showing only the front of your turret towards the enemy, if at all possible. And you take the shots and you get back using that fantastic power-to-weight ratio while they're still aiming at you. And if they do manage to get a shot off, it's going to be poorly aimed, but if they get lucky and it hits, there's an excellent chance your gun mantlet is going to bounce it. So let's have a look at the tech tree and see what sort of research grind we can expect on this tank. And you know what? It's not bad at all. The recommended upgrade path on this thing, for me, would be the first thing you want, definitely, no question, is the Type B barrel 20-pounder gun. And we'll look at the guns in more detail in a moment, and I'll explain why. It's not that much better than the Type A barrel gun, but it has one significant difference that makes it just such a good gun to be using on this tank. After you've got the gun, the next thing that you're going to want, well, straight away you can fit the Rolls-Royce Meteor Mark 4C engine because you've unlocked that already on the Centurion Mark 1. So the only real things that are left to upgrade are the engine, the turret, the second gun and the suspension. Now, you can fit that engine, that gun, and that turret on the stock suspension. So the next thing you're going to want is the upgraded suspension, then the engine, then the second gun. And the reason I say leave the second gun till last is, well, we'll show you why. Let's take a look at the guns. This tank gets a choice of 3 guns, and I use 2 of them on this tank depending on the circumstances. The 20-pounder Type A barrel is the stock gun that you have previously been using on the Centurion Mark 1, and you'll be using that gun in order to upgrade to the Type B barrel. And the Type B barrel is not really that different from the Type A barrel. They're both 20-pounder 83mm guns. The rate of fire is almost exactly the same. And you're going to see across the board that the 20-pounder Type B barrel is really just an incremental upgrade over the Type A barrel, but it is going to be worth it. Penetration, exactly the same, 226 or 258 with APCR premium ammo. Damage, exactly the same, 230. The accuracy is only marginally better, 0.33 versus 0.32, but it's the aiming time. Now, the aiming time on the Type A barrel gun is pretty good anyway, 2.3 seconds. But it's only 1.9 seconds on the Type B barrel, and that's what makes this gun, especially with the way this tank works. Because again, you've got that fantastic power to weight ratio, you've got a pretty good frontal turret, it's pretty low profile, it's got a good gun mantlet, you pop out, you snap the shot, you hit them, and you're already reversing using that great power to weight ratio and getting back into cover while they're still aiming. If they do get a shot off at you, it's going to be rushed, it's not going to be fully aimed, it's probably going to miss. If it doesn't miss, there's a good chance your gun mantlet is going to take the hit for you, and you will take no damage. Using the Type A barrel gun, it still works. It has a 2.3 second aiming time, but 1.9 is better. And so that's why the Type B barrel is such a fantastic gun on this tank. Now, it's not, of course, the only gun on this tank. The other gun is very, very good indeed as well. This 105mm Royal Ordnance L7A1. But the reason I say leave it till last is because, well, the DPM is very, very low with the 105mm. In fact, let's just show you exactly the difference. The DPM with the 7.1 using the 20-pounder Type B is 2,421 average damage per minute. If you were to fit the 105mm gun, that drops down to 1,950. That's a significant loss in DPM. What you get with the 105mm gun is much better penetration and much more damage. Right? It gives you much more of a punch. It's kind of like using the Chinese medium tank with the big heavy tank guns that they get. And yet I prefer using the 20-pounder. Although it is situational. And you're going to find that choosing which gun you're going to use on this thing just depends how you're going to drive that tank. So, differences. Well, the 20-pounder gets double the rate of fire. 10.53 rounds per minute versus 5 rounds per minute on the 105. Penetration, 226, is good. It's good penetration. I mean, it's not fantastic, but it's decent. The 105mm gets 268mm of penetration. That is absolutely fantastic. That's like tier 10 medium tank penetration. Damage is much better with a 105 as well. 390 average damage, that's like Russian 122mm heavy tank gun damage versus the 230 on the 20-pounder. The accuracy is exactly the same, 0.32 and 0.32. The aiming time isn't as good, 2.3 second aiming time versus the legendary 1.9 second aiming time on the 20-pounder. And I find that there is no best gun on this tank. It depends entirely how you're playing it, whether you're going to use the 105 or the Type B 20-pounder. I tend to use the 20-pounder more because I find that the 20-pounder works better if you're playing in platoons, and I mostly play in platoons. But if I'm ever playing this tank alone without a platoon, I put the 105mm on. Purely because you don't have the support of a platoon that allows you to put the DPM of this tank to use. You're pretty much a lone wolf with this thing. Playing alone, I find that if you can't rely on your teammates, it's better to use this thing as a sniper rather than a brawler. And the 105mm gun works better for that. It's just got more punch, it's got more stopping power. And it's safer, I find, when you're playing this tank alone to be using the 105mm. Your mileage may vary. However, I tend to not play alone. I tend to play in platoons a lot, which is why I almost always use the 20-pounder. Don't be put off by the fact that it only does 230 average damage. I have had monster games in this tank. I have done a lot of damage with this tank, as we're going to see in some of the examples. Okay, first rollout for the Centurion 7.1 with the 20-pounder Type B barrel gun, which is the gun that I prefer using when I'm platooned. This is my personal favourite gun on the tank. Not because it's better, it's just different, and it's a proper medium tank gun, whereas the 105mm is more of a heavy tank gun, and that might not be a bad thing. I mean, those of you who are used to driving Chinese mediums, for example, would be right at home using the 105mm gun. Slow reload, lots of penetration, good damage. But I'm more of a medium tank driver at heart, and I just feel that the 20-pounder gives you more options. With the 105mm, you kind of have to play the tank as a sniper, or if you're going to wolf pack up, yeah, you can flank and brawl with the tank, but you need a lot of support because you have a very, very slow reload. The 20-pounder, you can snipe with it as well, and it is a very, very, very good brawling, as you're going to see towards the end of this video. Very, very good brawling medium tank gun too. This was a funny old game. It started off really well, and then it got really frustrating, and it has a pretty epic ending. First of all, this E75 is having a really, really bad day, and his friend in the IS-8 isn't doing much better. Look at the rate of fire of this gun, man. And the accuracy. .226mm of penetration, even at this kind of range, more than good enough to go through the side of an E75. And he's dead. Now, at this point, I'm looking at this Patton, an AMX-5120, who were just YOLOing right across the middle of the map, and I'm thinking, somebody's probably going to need to deal with that. But first, I'll take an engine shot at that E75, because you never know. Set him on fire, lots and lots and lots of bonus damage. And now I'm thinking, right, okay, yeah, somebody needs to deal with these guys. And I decide to go back. But you're going to see a pattern continue for the next few minutes where I'll make a decision, but I'm just not fast enough, or I make the decision too late to be effective. So I'm coming down here to deal with these guys who are rushing the middle. Somebody's already killed the 5120. I actually do 236 damage to myself going over that dip. And then the Patton dies before I can get back here. Now, Quickie Baby's over on the other flank on his T-54E1, and he's yelling for help against this 1390. So I think, oh well, at least while I'm here I can miss the 1390. He's busy reloading. 1390's got him cold. Saved by the T-95. So again, I'm all the way down here now, and there's nothing left to shoot at. Now, when I abandoned that position on the hill, the only thing up there was a T-54. And it's still looking okay, and I think, well, at least I can take a shot at this T-28 prototype. Except our T-95 is having a monster game. How lucky is that, right? The T-95 barely moved, and everything just drove in front of him. Never happens to me when I'm driving my T-95. However, that position that I abandoned on top of the hill, once again, now, when I left there was only a T-54 pushing the hill. Now there's a Jagdpanzer E100, the T-54, an Indian Panzer, a Conqueror, an IS-7, and an M103. Did I mention there's an E100 up there as well? No, it's the Jagdpanzer E100. So I need to get back up here now. Once again, I arrive too late. All we have up there is an E75, who's about to die, a 452B who's taken a beating. Ike was on the hill. He's just cliff dived over the side to get away from all these guys, and he's now coming up to back me up from behind. We've just lost the E75, so T-54. Now, T-54 doesn't have great gun depression, so back up. Gun mantlet takes the hit. 452B kills the T-54. Take a pot shot at the Indian Panzer, it bounces. M103, my tracks take it. Now, I take a big old hit from that IS-7 there, and it knocked out my ammo rack. So Ike comes up to do what, to shield me as best he can. I get my tracks back up, reverse, repair the ammo rack. Now the Indian Panzer is not he's actually not supporting. He has really, really good gun depression. He could have been doing some good here. And this IS-7's going to go for it. So we're all backing off. I want to split them up. The M103 is in some serious trouble. We've just lost the 4502B. Now, I couldn't do this with the 105mm. Take the IS-7's tracks and start circling him while Ike kills the M103 and just keep pouring the shots into the IS-7. Look at the size of the two tanks. And suddenly, they only have one tank left. People are very surprised when they see the relative size of the Centurion 7.1 next to another tank. Well, I mean, that's a tier 10 Russian heavy tank. It's the IS-7. I am a bigger machine than him. And yet, so much more manoeuvrable. There is absolutely no way that IS-7 would have landed another hit on me. He just was not able to, even if it was a one-on-one, he just would not have been able to bring his gun to bear on me. Keep putting shots into his tracks, which you couldn't do with the 105mm gun, because in the length of time it takes you to reload, he would have gotten his tracks back up, and in the combination with a hull and turret reverse, he would have been able to bring the gun round on me, shoot me in the flank as I'm trying to circle him. With the 20-pounder, you can do it. You can keep him permanently tracked and just whittle him down, and there's nothing he can do about it unless he has support. Okay, next up, 20-pounder again. The gun that I always use when I'm platooned, and I'm platooned up with Quickie Baby and Ike. Quickie Baby in his T54, another fantastic tier 9 medium tank, and Ike in his Patton, another fantastic tier 9 medium tank. You know, all the tier 9s are great machines, not just the mediums. Well, those that I own and have driven. I'm going to reserve my judgment on the Tortoise until I've had a go. I don't know about the Tortoise, tier 9 British tank destroyer. I'm not too fond of these machines that have obvious weak spots on the top that you can't go hull down in, but we shall see. For the moment, we're driving the medium. We're here on Swamp. Obviously this is a patch 8.8 replay. And you know, I liked this map, even back when it was, I forget when they took it out of the game, patch 7.4, something like that. But, you know, I liked it, although it did look a bit like, you know, playing a level of Quake 2. Everything was very brown and depressing looking, so maybe that's why, because a lot of people really didn't like this map much at all. Anyway, our tier 9 medium platoon is heading around to the north. Quickie Baby being very aggressive up front, trying to get those early spots in. As always, certainly doesn't hurt to get the first initial spot of the enemy tanks in. Get yourself some spotting damage at the start of the game. I'm playing a little more cautiously, but there doesn't seem to be anything here. All of the action seems to be in the middle of the map. We've just lost a Centurion 1. It's not a good start. Okay, let's move up. Where's the rest of the enemy team? We've spotted half of them. Why is there nobody around this side? Now, I don't want to get ambushed. I do very much prefer to be the one doing the first shooting. Especially in this thing, because it has no armour. But it just doesn't look as if anybody has come around this side of the map. So I'm going to take a bit of a risk, and I'm going to go exploring. I'm leaving the rest of the platoon to get on with it. They're having fun and shooting up all those guys in the middle of the swamp. Oh, T28 prototype. Don't want to fire and give my position away in case there is somebody watching this corner. Certainly not for a blind shot, even though I probably would have hit that T28 prototype. Do I have any flanking shots on these guys? Let's have a look. Nothing there. Nothing there. Oh, I do. It's not a very good shot, though. Oh, it's good enough. Don't have sixth sense on this tank, so I don't know if I've been spotted, but he doesn't seem to be pointing his gun at me. So there's my first kill. Can I get anything on that ISU? Oh yeah, possibly. Well, that's an affirmative. Took a blind shot, it seemed to go a bit high. Probably didn't hit him. Waiting to see if I've been spotted. Again, I don't know who's covering this flank and who isn't, but no shots appear to have come my way, so alright, let's keep going. Very, very conscious of the fact that I'm 100% completely alone out here. And while the Centurion can dish out the damage, it really can't take it. Okay, if there was anybody here now, I would be getting shot at. But I still don't seem to have been spotted by anybody. So let's go looking for artillery. And we're on Skype, obviously, as we always are when we're platooned up. And Quickie Baby's asking me at this point, are you okay over there? I'm saying, yeah, I've got this. I'm going artillery hunting. He's going to be around here somewhere. Still a tough game. I haven't done that much difference so far. Only 620 damage and 1 kill. So I don't want to be faffing around on this flank if there's nothing here to shoot at, because I'm just not helping the team. Don't know if that one hit. Probably did. Need to get moving. Need to find things to shoot at. Can't be sitting here all day. There's nothing there, Jingles. Get this thing moving. Find the artillery and kill him. Then get stuck into the fight. We're in a good position, even though the scores are fairly even, because we've hemmed the entire enemy team into 1/4 of the map. So tactically, we've got the... Ah, there he is. Hello. Surprise, it's me. He'll be cursing his team now. Right, now I'm in a good spot. Now, conscious of the fact that there was an ISU 152 up on the top of that hill, and he definitely knows I'm here now. So I want to get this guy spotted, and not necessarily shoot him myself, when I could be taking pot shots at a Leopard prototype. Come on. No, don't really have much of a shot there. Yeah, got him. Come on, quick, baby, finish him off. Oh, IS-8 nailed him. Right. Pretty sure I didn't get spotted while taking those shots. It was too far away. So, where's that ISU? He's up around the corner of that hill somewhere. There he is. Ah, his gun's pointing the other way. Okay, I'll probably only get 1 shot into him, and then he's going to turn around. Now, I really don't want to get hit by an ISU 152 at this stage of the game, but I can keep him spotted for the rest of the team. So let's just, not taking any chances here, but let's just get this guy. Oh, there he is. Which way is his gun pointing? Yeah, the wrong way. Quickie Baby sneaks up behind him. And, whoa! You sneaky little buggers. How did they get there so fast? Oh, bounced. Taking 1 hit from the T4. Oh, there goes my invincible medal. Quickie Baby nails the IS-8. Ike nails the A44. There's just this T44 left. But this is a fast tank. Again, not a fast top speed, but it moves, it reacts quickly because of the power of the engine and the really, really good suspension. Full health T44. How long do you think he's going to last? Can I ninja the kill? Oh, and he's on fire. Oh, and he's used a fire extinguisher. Oh, and he's going to wish he hadn't. And I am going to reload faster than the T54. So, 3 kills. Not great, 957 damage that I know of, but let's take a look at the results screen and see if any of those blind shots actually did any damage. And as it turns out, yeah, I did actually do more damage than XVM was reporting during the replay a couple of those blind shots did go in, and I actually did over 2,175 with 3 kills. So not bad, not the best. Our IS-8 did more. Our ISU-152 did a hell of a lot more, but a decent result. And just an example, basically the enemy team failed hard. They completely neglected to send anybody down one flank. They all lemming trained through the middle. They got shot up from all sides. They left the western flank completely open, and I just exploited their mistake. Rolled in, got some flank shots, a couple of kills, nailed their artillery, and then helped mop up the remainers. So not a fantastic game, but not bad either. That was an average game in the Centurion 7-1. Let's have a look at a really, really good game in the Centurion 7-1. Shall we do that? Yeah, let's do that. So, the 105mm gun. Now, I very rarely actually use the 105mm gun on this tank. I will only equip it if I am playing alone. If I'm playing in a platoon, I will tend to use the 20-pounder. Playing by myself, however, I can't guarantee I'm going to get the same kind of support and backup from my team as I would if I was playing in a platoon of other medium tanks. So, in that sort of situation, as you can see here, I equip the 105mm gun, and I play this tank as a sniper. It's kind of like a very fast, not quite as well armoured, relatively speaking, Tiger. And it absolutely definitely works, played like that. Now, a couple of things to note about this 105mm gun. It has half the rate of fire of the 20-pounder. It fires a shot every just under 11 seconds. And that is seriously going to restrict the way you play this tank. It's one of those... There aren't many tanks like it. Oh, here's my first victim. Not many tanks like it in the game that play completely differently depending on which gun you have equipped. And neither gun is better than the other. They both just... It just depends on how you want to play. You'll note that the hull armour is garbage. That's a 85mm shell from a T-43. But you'll note that this gun has APCR ammo as its standard ammunition. That's not premium ammunition I'm firing. This is your standard shot for the L7A1 gun. In the same way that the Leopard prototype gets the Rheinmetall version of the L7A1 gun from the Leopard Mark 1. These are the two of the Tier 9 medium tanks. We get the Tier 10 medium tank gun with the APCR ammo that comes with it. And the thing about APCR is not only does it explain the 268mm of penetration on this gun, but it's very, very high velocity, so you don't have to lead your shots nearly as much with this. The shot reaches the target much, much, much faster. And this is me not paying attention to my map. I took 2 hits there from a T-54E1. Knocked out my gunner. Wasn't watching. Shouldn't have been up there. Exposing my side. Paid the price. 53% health now, and he's even apologising in chat. It must be a subscriber. Hey, you know, I'm on the enemy team. It's your job to shoot at me. Don't worry about it. This T-71's gotten himself into a very embarrassing position. He's going to have to move or he's going to get hit. And moving just gives me the kill. So there's my first kill, and I've only done 915 damage so far. And you're going to find that, I mean, you can rack up an awful lot of damage with this gun, but I find that you're reliant on your team to a greater degree than if you're using the 20-pounder. I find that you're more self-sufficient using the 20-pounder. Well, you sort of are and you aren't. You can play this thing as a sniper, like this. Myself and this Tiger are about to totally ruin that ISU-152's day. That was a useful kill. He's a dangerous machine. He's already on 2 kills. But whereas even if you're playing alone and you're using the 20-pounder, you can use this tank as a flanking brawling machine. Because you've got the DPM and the rate of fire. You can't really do that using the 105 because of the slow reload. yes, you've got a powerful punch, yes, you're accurate, yes, you've got a lot of penetration, but you spend an awful long time reloading. A lot more time than is healthy when you're trying to flank. Oh, that was fortunate. I mean, the KV-4 was doomed. And this is the sort of circumstance when you want to be using this tank with a 105mm as a brawling, flanking, circling medium, when you want lots of support with you. Because, yeah, you're going to punish them with that first shot, but you're spending a long time reloading, and you'd better hope that there are other things for him to shoot at while you're doing it. You tend to really have to either sit back and snipe, or stick to friendly tanks like glue. Use other tanks as support. IS-6 bounced right off the gun mantlet. Now, I got away with this. Again, I shouldn't have hung around waiting to reload and aim at that 4502B. He has a very, very dangerous gun, but gun mantlets saved my ass again. So that could have been potentially very, very, very dangerous. But you don't have to score that many hits with this gun to rack up the damage. We've done 2,375 damage already. Scored 3 kills. There's a whole cluster of enemy heavies moving up now, but that IS-6... No, I thought... Yep, it bounced. Oh, big old hits. Big old hit, 4502B. He's taken my loader out again. Well, not again, it was my gunner first from the T54E1. Now the reload on this thing is up to something like 15 seconds. That is bad news. It wouldn't be too bad with a 20-pounder, but with a 105, oh man. 15-second reload on a medium tank. I am now a sniper. Alright, you don't do any brawling or flanking in a tank that has a 15-second reload. I've already used my first aid kit to get my gunner up, so I'm going to have to choose these shots with care. I can't afford to miss any shots now. Every shot I take has to penetrate and do damage. Luckily, we are winning quite handily, 9-4. But I've only got 1 hit left in me, at the most, depending what's shooting at me. In fact, most of the things that are left alive... Well, the T69, no. The T29, no. The Jagdpanther, possibly. The ST, I don't care what you call it, the 452B, they can definitely one-shot kill me, as can the artillery. Speaking of artillery, we got you. Yeah, he's gone. Okay, that's good. T69 is about to die. We just lost a Jagdpanther. And of course, regardless of what gun you're using on this thing, it is still quick. Yeah, it only does 40 kph, but it does 40 kph. It's not a mythical top speed that you see listed on so many other tanks. This thing will do 40 kilometers per hour consistently all the time, regardless of most of the terrain that it ever drives on. You can shift this tank. T69 is severely damaged and trying to cap. T29. Booyah, kill number 4. And now, all they have left is the tier 9 Russian. And he's just run out of friends. However, I mean, he's going to die. It's just a question of who can get the last shot into him. There's a Jagdtiger, a 4502B coming around to get him. Can I get there? Let's put the mobility of the 7-1 to the test. Only does 40 kph. Well, I'll say only. I'm doing 42 over this rough ground because of the phenomenal grunt, the raw power of the engine, the really, really good suspension, the good ground resistance of the suspension, the raw power of the tank allows it to do its listed top speed over just about any terrain. So don't be too fooled about that relatively low top speed. As you can see, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. 3,000 damage. We got there. Can we get the kill? There's a lot of competition for it. Can we make it 5 kills? There's no chance of a top gun, but 5 kills would be nice. Oh, he's a one-shot. He's a one-shot. Come on, load, load, load. The L7A1 Royal Ordnance 155mm gun, when you absolutely definitely have to kill every Russian Tier 9 medium and heavy tank in the game. Except no substitutes. So a pretty successful run out for the 105mm gun. Despite losing the loader at the end, it didn't really make that much difference. From the point at which my loader died, and I'd already used the first aid kit to get my gunner back up, everything that I fired at from that point on, the gun was loaded and ready. Despite the crippling 15-second reload, in a lot of games that would have really, really hurt. But situationally, didn't actually make that much difference in that game, and was still able to do 3,377 damage and nail 5 kills, which was nice. 13 shots fired, 11 direct hits, 10 penetrations, 3,377 damage. Took 6 hits. At least 3 of those I should never have taken. 1 from the 4502B, 2 from the T54E1. Wasn't paying attention to the map, didn't realise what was going on. Just poor situational awareness, and it cost me a lot of health. It also cost me 2 dead and injured crew. But still, not going to complain. Not walking away with 5 kills, over 3,000 damage done, and 71,000 credits in my pocket. So yeah, the 105mm gun. It's not a better gun than the 20-pounder, it's just a different gun, and the gun that you choose is just going to determine how you play the tank. You won't be doing a lot of brawling and flanking with the 105mm, you'll tend to be playing it more as a sniper, or if you are going to do some brawling and sniping, it's going to be with a lot of backup from other tanks. Purely because of the very, very slow reload. It definitely has much, much lower DPM, but it's not a bad gun. This game was interesting. We'll just say that. I don't want to give any spoilers. Tier 9 match, top tier. We're here on Serene Coast. This game had come... we were on Circumflex's live stream. He's there in his E50. We've got Sir Fosh with us in his ST. I don't care. And this game had come at the end of a string of horrendous defeats driving this tank. And when I say horrendous defeats, what I mean by that is where the kind of game where you do 3,000, 4,000 damage, but your team still manages to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. It had just been one of those nights where I was on fire in this tank. I couldn't do a thing wrong, and it kept losing. And then we had this game. And initially, I thought it was going to be more of the same. You'll see what I mean. So there's nobody around here but myself, a T-21, and a Yak Tiger 88. And we've got a Comet, a T-71. Let me just put it this way. We're going to be outnumbered 6-2 here. We've lost our ELC. I'm not even paying attention to where the ELC was. There goes the T-21. So he's dead. There's now nobody over here but me and this Yak Tiger 88. We now have a Comet and a T-71. There are 4 other tanks coming around this spur of land. There is nobody here to deal with them but me and this Yak Tiger 88. But look at the DPM of this gun. Now, I knew the T-71 was there. I didn't know exactly where, but... And at this stage, I don't know that he's not the only tank there. And he damages my turret ring. I don't want to sit there knowing that there's a GW Tiger P in play. I want to get into artillery cover. Keep this guy spotted. Rather than just sitting in the open. Shielded from fire from the T-71, but a sit and duck for artillery. And so it's a stalemate. Now the Yak Tiger 88 moves up, and that looked like an artillery shot. He goes around one side, I come around the other. I missed that shot. But I don't want to let this guy just get around the Yak Tiger 88. Take his tracks off, and we're going to finish him off. Try to ram him, but he wants to use a repair kit. Can't get away in time. Whoa, there's their artillery. And there's a T-44 up there. And that's not all. I've already done 1600 damage. I don't really have a shot on the GW Tiger P, but I've spotted him. The Yak Tiger 88 does have shots at this guy. So I'm going to use what cover I can here from this T-44, and whoa, a tortoise. Oh crap. That's not all that's there. And this is why I am not particularly keen on going any further down the British tank destroyer line than I already am with my AT-15. You cannot go hull down in these things. Yep, that's right, there's an AT-7 there as well. All of these British tank destroyers have got weak spots in the worst possible position. I'm actually feeling quite comfortable about this spot since I know we've just killed their artillery, so I can work the ridge line here in support of this Yak Tiger 88. And that's the shot I'm looking for, right there. It's my third kill. The AT-7 gets one into me. At least I think it was the AT-7. It seemed to come from his direction. It's the first shot I fired that... Actually, no, it's the second shot I fired that missed. Very surprised that that one didn't hit. And now this is where I make a serious miscalculation. I'm switching to an external view here. Plant one in the T-44. I'm trying to keep the wreck of the tortoise between myself and the AT-7 while I finish off the T-44. Going for the tracks of the AT-7, and then this water seems to be a lot deeper than I anticipated. And because I'm underwater, I cannot get the gun pointing at the AT-7. And so I take a lot of unnecessary damage securing that kill. But I'm up to 4 kills now, and I've done 3,189 damage. But that was a bit of a derp moment. I did not realise that water was as deep as it was. And that cost me a lot of unnecessary damage. But lesson learned. Now I know I won't do that again. Now there's only 3 of them left, but they are E75s. 2 of them are spotted miles away from here. Now I wouldn't really be surprised if the Yak Tiger 88 at this point thought, screw it, I am too slow, I'm just going to go and sit in the cap circle. That's fair enough. I, however, am not slow, so I can still get more kills in this game and do more damage. I can only see one of these E75s at the moment, and he is angled pretty well against me. At first I'm just aiming for the centre of mass because of the range. This fella is 426 metres away. Then I start taking pot shots at his upper glacis because it's angled down, which actually it makes it more likely I'm going to penetrate. But 226mm of penetration at 400 metres range against a tough target like the E75? No. So instead I start going for his turret top. Watch this. What a gun. Can I get the kill? And now there's only one of them left, and I would really, really like the top gun, but this fella's 700 metres away. However, I am reliably informed by my teammates at this point, over TeamSpeak, that this E75 is on full health. and our Panther 2 is unlikely to kill him. So it's still all to play for. So come on, Centurion, go faster. Jingles needs a top gun. And there he is. Oh, come on, give me the kill, give me the kill, give me the kill. And this thing reloads so fast that I don't just get the kill, I get to put 3 shots into him. And there's Top Gun, and 4,500 damage done. And so that was my mastery badge, at long last. I've actually earned more credits in a game in the Centurion than that, but I haven't earned more XP than that. That's 6,057 XP, tripled, special event weekend. So 2,000 base XP, mastery badge, Top Gun. And yet, funnily enough, didn't do the most damage. Got the most XP, but if you sort it by damage done, Circumflexes in his E50 actually did 5,292 damage. I only did 4,522. And this game, by the way, came at the end of a long string of games in the Centurion where I was doing over 3,000 damage and the team just kept losing. So this was a very, very welcome result. I was about ready to give up on this tank at this stage of the evening. So getting a win like that, really, I really needed it. And what hell of a win. 34 shots fired, 27 direct hits, 24 penetrations, 4,522 damage. Hits received, not so good. 11 hits received. Most of those I should never have taken. I made a severe miscalculation, total brain fart. That water was a hell of a lot deeper than I thought it was. So a bit of fail there, but the AT-7 couldn't seal the deal. I managed to kill him anyway. So lesson learned, don't go diving into the water on that side of the map. It's a lot deeper than it looks. Won't do that again. Unfortunate result there for that enemy E75 platoon. They played a great game. Fortunately for me, I never had to come directly face to face with them. I was able to take pot shots at them and kill them from range, so that was good. Yeah, good result. So, the Centurion Mark 7.1, my new favourite tank in the game. I think this thing is absolutely amazing. But don't take my word for it, just because I say best tank in the game. That doesn't mean it's going to be the best tank for you. It has certain characteristics. Very, very good power to weight ratio. Lightning fast aiming time on that 20-pounder gun. Pretty good frontal turret. It's a very strong hold down, pop in, pop out and take your shot kind of tank. If that sounds like the sort of thing you're going to enjoy doing, you're going to have a fantastic time with the Centurion Mark 7.1. But, not everybody is a dedicated medium tank driver. Some people just prefer the tank destroyers. Some people just prefer the heavy tanks. And this is definitely not a heavy tank. Although, with that 105mm gun, you can use this thing in a similar style to a tank destroyer. Staying back, second line, long-range fire support, excellent view range, deadly accurate, hard-hitting, high-penetrating, good sniper gun. There's any number of different ways you can make this tank work, and that's just what I love about it. It is so flexible, and it ticks all the boxes that I want ticked in a medium tank. It's got a fantastic selection of guns. It's highly manoeuvrable. It's really quick. The top speed of 40 kph, I can live with it. I mean, it's not slow, but it's certainly not as quick as a T-54, for example. But, you can't have everything. All in all, I think this is an incredibly well-rounded package. It's an amazing tank. I have had fantastic fun driving it. If you like the same style of gameplay, I don't think there's a better tank in the game. So, unsurprisingly, the Centurion Mark 7.1 is getting a massive thumbs up from me. I think it's an amazing tank. I think you're going to have a lot of fun driving it too. As always, folks, whatever you're playing, have fun playing it. Take care on that battlefield, and I'll catch you next time.